What's happening, family? Happy Monday to you. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Hope you all had a great weekend. I know I did. I don't know about you, but I had a tremendous weekend. So right now, I'm about to head to my favorite spot to pick up some of my favorite cuisine. What is that cuisine, you might ask? Island, Caribbean food. I don't think that was the right accent, but you know. Make sure I'm situated. So I hope all is going well. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a great week leading into that weekend. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, where it's cold as hell right now. And so if you all been tuning into Move Mondays for a while, I'll say at least for like 2018, and you know, most Move Mondays, I was actually out there in that space outside of this vehicle that we call outside. But of course, it is too damn cold to be outside, so I'm not going to be outside right now, and I haven't been. But I can't wait because I'm a spring baby, born April 28th. So I guess naturally, some might say, spring is like my favorite, time of the year, and I love warmer weather. Now I can't stand. I can't say I can't stand. I'm not a big fan of hot, like hot, like so hot that you got to walk around, with your own personal water jug and that kind of thing. That's a bit much for me. But I do like. I would say my favorite seasons are spring and fall. Spring because it's warm but not too warm, and I love rain. Actually, maybe that's actually a key to why I love rain so much. I don't have my water with me. I love rain probably more than most people that I know. For many people, rain is a spoiler. For me, rain allows me to be calm and chill, and I love rain for that purpose because I feel like everybody has to chill when it rains. The bad part is we drive faster when it rains. Go figure. So anyway, I'm looking forward to being back outside for Mood Mondays. But for now, we will be inside. So Mood Mondays is always about quotes because you guys know that I'm a fan of a huge quote. What you hear in the background, hopefully I don't get copyright strike for it. It is one of my favorite jazz groups, the Yellow Jackets. And this is, I believe they're recording 25, their 25th anniversary. They're a group that's pretty special because they have 30 plus years as a group where they still have original members in the group. 3 of the 4 members, and the last one to come back actually to the group was Will Kennedy, who's the one of the original drummers. But anyway, they have over 30 years together as a group, so that's pretty amazing by itself. It's one of my favorite groups. Go check them out if you have never heard of them. They're called the Yellow Jackets, and of course you can just YouTube or Spotify, whatever you want, but it's one of my favorite albums right here. It's a live album, 25 for their 25th anniversary. Cool, so let's get to some quotes. All right, so the first, this is me going through the quotes for this past week and elaborating on them. I'm going to read a few, then we're going to take a drive. When I stop at lights or what have you, then I'm going to read another quote and we're going to dig in some more. Drop a line if you can hear me well and all that kind of good stuff. All right, I just lost my quote. All right, here we go. So the very first one that I just released an hour ago on my page is called Addition by Subtraction. And under normal circumstances, you always see it on the screen. I'll be able to pull it up, but not today. Addition by subtraction. Not by addition, but learn to understand pure truth by simply subtracting those things that aren't true. Right? That's my own original quote. Hey, Brian, thanks for hanging out. Happy Monday to you. All right, so not by addition, but learn to understand pure truth by simply subtracting those things that aren't true. And that's my own personal quote. Addition by subtraction is something that is like a renewed lesson for me every day in life. Many times we're constantly adding more, or wanting more, desiring more. The first place I think I learned it was let's get some sunlight in here. The first place that I learned it, the first application, had to do with money. It had to do with money, and it was with how to give yourself an increase financially. Most of us are thinking of ways to make more money by working harder, or picking up a side gig, or putting in more hours. Simple lesson, but it's just always worth revisiting, that if you subtract as far as debt, or you subtract as far as how much you're spending your money on, then you automatically give yourself a raise. I learned that when I was about maybe 18. It was between 18 and 21, when I really learned that lesson. But of course, past financially, you could say, you have a better quality of life by subtracting certain negative energies from your life, people and scenarios and situations. There's a whole lot of things where you actually add to your life by subtracting. And then this second quote that I put that goes along with it on the same post is from one of my favorite courses. It's called A Course in Miracles. I was a Course in Miracles teacher at one point, for those that are watching that are familiar. And I love the poetic aspect of the course. There's use of iambic pentameter, which is, speaking in syllables of 10, and it's very poetic. And it's like Shakespeare. Shakespeare is written in iambic pentameter. So, like, this is a quote from there. For what is healing but the removal of all that stands in the way of knowledge? A Course in Miracles. When I first ran into this was my transition through religion. And Dee, what's up, baby? How's it going, Daryl? Where I first learned this was my transition through religion from Christianity. And I was really dealing with the concept that, everything that I grew up with that I now looked at as superstition, a lot of it, I realized it was in the way of knowledge. What was that knowledge? The knowledge was that I was all right. There wasn't anybody out to get me, no third-party negative entity called a devil, and there wasn't an entity that was looking to judge my every move and who I had sex with and who I... and I'm saying that on purpose because that's where it gets, for a lot of us from a personal level. So when I stopped believing in those kind of scenarios, then I realized the knowledge that I came into was that when it came down to love, I didn't need to go anywhere, prove anything to anybody, worship anybody to do it. Like, it was love and peace and joy and all that kind of stuff was just right there at my disposal. All I had to do was just activate it, So yeah, that's one quote. Let's go to the next one. Let me know if y'all can hear me clearly too. I see that you're tuned in. Next thing is I want to first of all thank everybody everybody who hung out this morning for In the Shed. It was a lot of fun, and also everybody who hung out yesterday for our song medicine session. Every first Sunday from 1 to 3, we have a song medicine session here in Baltimore, a live session that you can come and visit. If you're in the DMV area, I definitely recommend that you come. It's always a great time. Myself and Chandra at 6080 Falls Road. 6080 Falls Road. I speak fast. I didn't want to mess up the address. And it's 1 to 3 p.m., free, family friendly. So yesterday we did a song medicine session in our studio because of the inclement weather. The funny thing was it didn't start snowing until like about the time we would have been done, but we wanted to be on the safe side and not have people out there, in the what is that? We didn't want to have anybody out there in the precipitation, in any way. So we wanted to be safe. If you didn't see it, so check out, my page here. You can check out the Aaron Hill TV channel on YouTube. And later today, after I go get my island food, the video will hit the page for musicians and artists. The same video from yesterday, the song medicine session with myself and Amma, just creating space, musically. It's amazing. But the video will hit today where if you're a musician or artist, you can actually see the on-screen piano and to see everything that I was playing and be able to learn from it for what it's worth. So look out for that, and thanks so much to everybody who joined us yesterday. All right, next deal, going the wrong way. Okay, this morning I put up a post, one of my favorite tunes ever to get in the zone. The melodic or the melody line that Jocko, talking about one of my favorite bass players, he vamps out on Echoes Forever. It's so lyrical and it hits me deeply. So I'm just talking about a song that I put on my page. It's called Midwestern Night's Dream, Midwesterner's Night's Dream, one of the two. I'm getting all tongue-tied just trying to say it. Check out that song on my page. It's just a YouTube clip. Pat Metheny is the writer. Jaco Pastorius, the bass player, is on there. And it's just a great tune. It's just a great tune. And I like to expose people. Again, my whole channel, Aaron Hill TV, is about music, motivation, information, education, and a tad bit of humor. So this falls under the information and the music piece, to just expose people to different things they never heard before. So check that out. All right. On yesterday, my quote a day was, when it's time for a change. If you continue to do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. Most of us know that as the definition of what? Insanity. The definition of insanity, for those that don't know, it might be some young bucks that are listening to this that need to hear this lesson. It's doing the same thing but expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. So I said, when it's time for a change, you got to realize that a dead horse has 1,000% consistency at getting a rider nowhere. Go ahead and take the first step towards a change. What do you have to lose? This first step may be the first forward motion that you've had in a long time. You'll thank your feet later for moving when they did. And that's time for a change. The next quote is from one of my favorite motivational and innovative people and inspirational people. The one thing that I like is how you can have different people from different walks of life who inspire you. I'm a musician, but like the people that inspire me even musically, a lot of the top people aren't even musicians at all. One of them is here. A quote a day: be water. And who said be water? Whose famous, line was that? The one and only Bruce Lee. Learning to accept the destination as the journey means to always be open to new understandings, new revelations, new information, and new outcomes to what you may have thought would be a different way. As long as you do this, you will be realistically applying the only consistent fact in life. And that is, the only thing that is 100% consistent in life is what? Let's say it all together. Change. Like Bruce Lee put it, be water. Allow yourself to mold and shape with the different changes in life. It may not be easy, but it's doable. That's the most important part. And it's the only thing that makes sense in the long run. This is the only way to achieve true harmony and peace in life. Be water, my friend. Be water. All right, the next one. This is a quote that's on my page from yesterday. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. This was from 2 days ago. A negative mind will never give you a positive life. Here's my elaboration. We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. No, actually, this is from Buddhist text right here. We are shaped by our thoughts. We become what we think. When the mind is pure, joy follows like a shadow that never leaves. That's from the Buddhist scriptures. And here's my addition to it. Your thoughts determine your actions. Be very intentional about your thoughts, especially what you think about yourself. And that makes me think about something I don't think I included in here from this past week. And I said, when other people's opinion of you matters more than your own, and I didn't put it, but you get it. when it matters more than your own opinion of you, you're in trouble. I really wanted to say you're in deep shit, but I couldn't put that on. I couldn't, you can't, it's funny. You can't boost, text or pictures or anything that has, profanity in it. I don't believe in curse words. I believe telling a person that you hope they'll never be anything in life is more of a curse phrase and curse words than saying you're in deep shit if other people's opinions of you matters more than your own. And that's because I'm using that word, but I'm coming from a place of positivity. So yeah, that's really important. Shout out to everybody who is like that post and shared it and engaged with it. It's just something simple I think we just need to be reminded of. When other people's opinions of you matter more than your own opinion of you, you are in trouble. It's time to pay attention and focus and realize that the only opinion that really ultimately matters is your opinion of yourself. Now, let's put that into better context before I finish this. It's like, other people's opinions matter. Like, let's be clear. It's not a black and white thing. Other people's opinions matter. The issue is that we take people's opinions to the heart a lot of times, to the point where like it stifles us from moving forward, or even worse, their opinions of us, when we believe what people say about us more than what we believe about ourselves, then it creates a different reality where we're trying to live as like a version of ourselves that other people like or want or will accept, as opposed to what's important to us, being the way that's important to us, and then presenting that to the world for people to take it or freaking leave it. Like, I put up a post a while back, which was like, you don't need everybody to like you. You do not need everybody to like you. What you need everybody to do, or as many people as you have the ability to do, is to respect you, not to like you, because not everybody's going to like you. You are not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So everybody's not going to like you or what you do. But if you go forward in confidence, if you're positive, and doing the best that you can, like, you'll earn that respect. And that's all you really need anyway. And it's icing on the cake when people like you. So your thoughts determine your actions. Be very intentional about your thoughts, especially what you think about yourself. Positive thoughts create positive actions. Whatever you think shapes the life that you create. Be a positive thinker today and benefit yourself and those around you. The next one was a short one that I put up Friday. Change your perspective. Wait a minute. That got cut off. Wait a minute. Change your perspective of your past, and you'll inevitably change your future. Change your perspective of your past, and you'll inevitably change your future. You can't change the things that happen to you. You can't change the things that you've done. That's the funny thing about like apologizing and making amends. You're able to change. You're able to affect the future, And the way that you're able to change the past is really just in thought about what happened. You can change that for yourself. You can also change that for another person by making amends, apologizing, like making things right, whatever it is that you need to do. Showing somebody some love or respect, like whatever it is. You can change the events of the past in a way. And that's by changing your perception of it, or your perspective of it. You change that, then you can change the future. So there's so many situations that we look at, and you can't change what's happened to you. So if you just look at it and say, okay, what can I learn from it? What did I learn from it? How can I not repeat the same cycle? Then you could change something that's anywhere from mildly inconvenient to tragic, into something that propels you into the future, into making better choices, or to just doing things in a different way, or not accepting things, or accepting, like, whatever it is you need to do. So that's the only thing you have control over. And I don't wish negative on anybody, but when things happen to you, that's the most power that you have to change your perspective of it in order to change your future. All right, maybe two more, and then I'm going to start driving because I'm hungry, y'all. But this feeds me more than anything. Just being able to share in this way. Sorry for the buzzing. So this was a funny one, and I said I had to repost this. Those who know. So the Serenity Prayer, right? Now let me say something about the Serenity Prayer, like as far as the religious perspective. I don't agree with most of the Serenity Prayer. Like most of us know just the very beginning. The rest of it goes deep into dogmatic, fundamentalist kind of thing that I don't, it's not my cup of tea. I definitely appreciate the writer though, especially for what the beginning says, what he dropped in the beginning. I forgot the author. I'm gonna actually go back and remember who the author was. But I think it was Catholic. Anyway, the point being this. Now, I'm an atheist, so I don't look at it from the perspective of God. But the principle, though, and I was just telling Amma this yesterday, in fact. We had a conversation about this. It's worth noting here. Principle, bottom line. Most people think about things like whether it pertains to religion or spirituality or not. The way I look at things is how it pertains to life. And there's bottom lines that you get down to that there's no argument about. It's literally the same principle, although a person may look at it in a religious way or non-religious way. So no matter what a person does religiously or spiritually or in a secular way, I think that the most important thing to look at is like the bottom line. Whether you're a person that prays to God or whether you're a person that looks at a tarot deck, like Amma, for example, who looks at a tarot deck and who's able to look at things, engage things from that perspective and learn about the world, learn about circumstances, think about the next things to do and all that kind of stuff. It really comes down to the same principles, which is like this device, that device, these different tactics are used in a way where people are trying to get down to love and harmony, how to behave better, which is the first thing that most of us are doing through our religious and spiritual past, how to behave better and keep ourselves in check, and how to be able to look out at the world, see things from an optimistic or positive standpoint and all that kind of stuff. I just happen to be a person who's traversed through that, and it was very, very valuable to me. Now at this point, I don't necessarily need those devices to get me to behave properly or to get me to think about other people or respect or to gauge my actions and be positive or to be optimistic, Now I'm able to just get right to it and not necessarily pray to a God for it or look through a tarot deck, even though I'm not anybody who does that. Like whatever works for you, works for you. Just don't harm anybody in the process. And don't harm yourself. Stop depriving yourself of things thinking that it makes you more spiritual, holy, or a better person. I guess take it with a grain of salt. If it does, if not having sex makes you make better choices, then by all means. But same time though, it's gonna come a point where you have to be natural and normal, and you have to be responsible and mature enough to be able to engage in different things in moderation and still be a mature person and not let it overtake your life or make you not be focused. And I think that to me is the maturity that's important that for me secular humanism provides, because in my opinion, and I don't mean to get off on a rant here, but it's Mood Mondays, what the hell, right? In my opinion, I think it's easier. I actually think it's a lot easier to be righteous or to follow directions if you feel like there's hell to pay, or you feel like there's some really, really terrible negative afterlife consequence. Not all of us need that though, and so whatever gets you there, but just be gentle with yourself and be gentle with others. Stop marginalizing and judging others because of the fact that they don't do things the way that you do them. Results. How, for many people that follow the Bible, you look at the concept of looking at the fruits of a person's actions. I don't normally do this because it's just not who I am, but I'll take a second to even just pat myself on the back and just say, the fruits of my actions are what you see every day, and they come, through a form of secular humanism and not appealing to a religion or doctrine or spiritual path or what have you. So that's it with that. But anyway, back to this, right? Serenity prayer. The reason why I was bringing that up is that serenity prayer, although I might not see it from the God grant me but the thing that we're all searching for and the thing that we're all like striving for is the ability to accept it. I'm sorry, let me start off with the first premise. The ability to change the things that we can, like to know the things that we can change and that we have the ability to accept the things that we cannot change, which that's my qualm with religion a lot of times, because there's certain things that are inevitable, but we kind of look at them like, no, if it goes in that direction, that's not good or not right. But then we flip it, and when it does happen, we're like, oh, well, that was the will of the Creator. It's like, okay, like we just went around the mulberry bush just to get to accepting the inevitable peacefully, and coping with it that way. But accepting the things that we can't change, and most of all, the wisdom or the discernment, to know the difference. That's actually the most important piece about of them all, because if you can know the difference, then you can remain at a place of peace, because you can work on the things that you can change, and the things that you can't, you can be at peace with. So you're at peace across the board. The peace that many people speak about, which they say surpasses understanding. I don't think it surpasses understanding, and that's the interesting part about it. I never thought about this really until now. I don't think. Oh wow. I'm sorry, y'all. This is, I forgot I had the CD in here. All right, so I got to pause for a cause for a second. I did this when I was 21. This was one of the last hip-hop songs that I recorded. It's called War. And this is actually when I was, I guess I wouldn't say I was a gospel rapper, because I never considered myself that, but it was definitely coming from more of a spiritual perspective. Same place where I am today as far as positivity, just laced with, a bit more religious and spiritual terminology, or what have you. Anyway, maybe I'll let you hear my verse when it comes on. But my point is that the most important thing is the wisdom to know the difference. Accept the things you can't change, and to change the things that you can. So anyway, that's something I hold in high regard, But this was a post that I put up, and I said, those who know. And it's a post that said, sativa to change the things that I can, and indica to accept the things I can't. And I could even include there, and the wisdom to know the difference. So if you're a person that partakes of the herbs of the earth, let's put it that way, the greenery of the herbs of the earth. Now here's a funny thing. Now I still had to put it up because it's a funny thing. But if you're into this and you know what sativa is and you know what indica is, which are different strands of the greenery, then you know that one is seen as giving you, it's like when people want to get focused and really get focused. Like a lot of times you have like some of your most amazing thoughts, and your creativity is out the window. I actually like sativa before I practice music or before I play music. Like, I love it because I'm already an open person, but it just makes you even more open, and like your attention to detail is like pretty crazy. So that's sativa. Indica is seen more as like when you just want to relax and just really completely mellow out and even go to sleep. So sativa to change the things I can, and indica to accept the things I can. So that's just a funny little joke for us 420ers. So all right, next is making new friends, and I'm gonna pull off at this point because I am starving, but y'all see I enjoy this more than anything, right? I enjoy just communicating, talking, and being able to go over these positive principles and have some fun, have a laugh, and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so making new friends. If you aren't those of you all that have been following the podcast, first of all, I want to say thank you. And what did you think of the message that I put on the podcast, the one that's called Thanking My New Friends? I have a podcast on there that's called Thanking My New Friends, and it's just that. Over the course of the past few weeks, now about 4 weeks, there's been a lot of new people that have come into my world, and I am super appreciative of everybody that's come into my world, that has partook of the journey with me. It's been amazing. And people that have the same interest that I have. You know, people that are into positivity freaks, you know, optimism freaks, like I am. Just appreciating a good quote, appreciating a positive affirmation, appreciating some positive music. I want to say thank you to everybody who has been a part of my journey. And so I did a podcast about that. Besides that, you know, I have the other thing that happens on a weekly basis for me is I chat with a lot of people on the podcast from different walks of life. And it's just really good and engaging conversations. And a lot of times I do a segment called GEMS. And for those that don't know, GEMS is an acronym, GEMS. It's a two-part, it's a double entendre, as they say. It has double meaning. One, in the African American community, if somebody is, you know, dropping wisdom or something that's valuable or useful, then we say that person was dropping gems. And so that's one way that I'm using it. The other way, GEMS as an acronym, is giving everyone my science. And it's basically, for what it's worth, my take on things mostly related to getting your message out there, your business, your brand, your product, your service, you know, and being able to take advantage of social media in the way that I do. I've been a person that since 2006, I think, is when I 2006 is when I got my first email address. And let me take y'all back for a second. It's funny thinking about this, because that wasn't that long ago. But early on, excuse me, my wife at that time and we shared the same email address, which is really funny. You know, when you think about it now, like, who does that? We shared the same email address. It was andhill@myexcel.com. And MyExcel was a company that I worked for at that time, on the side as like a side hustle. Now, I haven't thought about this in years. This is real funny. So y'all remember the companies where you could be an independent representative selling like cell phone service, home phone service, and internet, you know, on your own, before, you know, Verizon took over and Singular Wireless, AT&T, and all of these other companies. There was companies like MyExcel. And so I used to walk around with a composition notebook and remember, like, the paper. When you work one of these jobs, you had the paper that had the little tabs on the end with your name and your phone number, and it was printed on all these strips, and you would cut them out and you would take those and hand them out, or you would stick them places. That was MyExcel. That was who I worked for. So I got my first email address through MyExcel, and my wife and I we shared the same email address. Yeah, that was funny times. But anyway, that was when I vowed. I was like, okay, this internet thing, I hope y'all can still hear me clearly. Let me know if you can't. Now I'll switch up the mode at which I'm talking. But at that time, you know, the internet was young, email was young, and I vowed in 2006, I was like, I got to get an email address and I got to get on this internet thing, because, like, I see this is where the world is going. This thing is taking off, and I didn't want to be left out. And so that was the beginning. That was really the beginning of what I would say now is like a bit of a nifty, handy, kind of crafty and masterful way of using social media, using the different outlets, you know, to be able to really get my message, products, and services out there. And so I took advantage of YouTube at the time when it came out. It came out in 2006. In 2008, I was on YouTube, and from 2008 until now, I put up 2,000 videos. Like no bull. I put up 2,000 videos. Now it's like 2,000 plus because of my second channel. But I put up, really now, because of my third channel, because I forgot about the channel with the band. I put up 2,000 plus videos. And I just took advantage of the fact that, you got a chance to make your own movies and to have people to tune in regularly. And the music industry was changing. You no longer had to go through a third party or a record label and that kind of thing. Like, I just took full advantage of it. Or as my father would say, I took cold advantage of it. I don't know what that. One day we're going to talk about those kind of sayings. Like, what does it mean to be as sick as a dog? Like, my father says that all the time. Like, what does it mean to be as sick? Like, he'll say, man, I'm sick as a dog. Like, how sick is a dog? Are all dogs sick? Are they more sick than people? I got a buddy. In fact, Daryl, if you're still on here, I think it was either you or somebody else I used to joke with. And my cousin Tim, I know we would joke for sure. And we would just joke about, like, sayings that people come up with. We'd be like, what does that actually mean? It means nothing. And we would come up with our own funny little sayings. But anyway, I took advantage, full advantage, cold advantage of YouTube, and the success that I was able to accumulate from there is something that I'm still like really proud of, and it's what motivates me going forward. Even though my life has changed, and the thing that I built around, I no longer invest in anymore like that, and that was that I was in the business of doing Christian and gospel music. So, but it's the thing that motivates me, and it's a part of my ethic and why you all see what you see from me in the way that you do. So I do podcasts to help other people out in that way, and those other people include you. If you're interested in us having a conversation, it's no charge and that kind of thing. I do consultations. I have an aspect where I do consultations and I charge an hourly fee, but for my podcast, I just do conversations, just talking to people, trying to give them as much information as possible for whatever they want to do. Even if it's not about a business or brand or product or service, and it's just about legacy. It's just about something that you want to do for yourself and your family and your children. Those are the kind of conversations that I have. So that was what this last post was about, because I talked to my new friend, one of my new friends out of the hundreds of new friends, David Morgan. And David is a musician. He's a bass player, and he's somebody that was really inspired by what I do. He's really inspired. He sees me in the videos and that kind of thing. And particularly the other day, he commented on one of my videos when I was in the music store, and I was just noodling around and welcoming everybody in. So check out that conversation. We had a great conversation, and it was really reinvigorating to him as far as his passion. So check that out when you get a chance. So next up, I think I'm probably going to round it out after this. I know I've been talking for a while. Thank you for the people that have tuned in, and to all the replayers, thank you for hanging out as long as you have. I'm going to give a shout out to La Young. I think it's La Young. Is it L.A. Young? If you watch this, is it L.A. or La? I always think about your name as both, actually. La, L.A. But this past weekend, I had a hit with La Young out at Sobeys Restaurant and Lounge, doing a lot of covers, a lot of like classic covers like Phyllis Hyman and SOS Band and Grace Jones and all that kind of good stuff. If you didn't see any of that, it'll be on this page shortly, but you can check out my personal page where you'll see a live video there. And I meant to do it on this page, but in the midst of the broadcast, I realized I was broadcasting to the wrong page. So sorry for everybody that's here that didn't get a chance to see it and wanted to see it because I had mentioned it. But check that out. And prior to that, I was out in Colombia with my best friend, Anthony Jenkins, the bass player of our group, Fruition Experience, for his, he's a Unitarian minister. And I really want to bring you all way more in on the experiences that he creates, because they are absolutely amazing. He did a service. Basically what he does is he's a minister, so he'll do the service and he'll do the readings or the talking, that kind of thing. And he's so articulate and eloquent. Like, he's been my best friend at least for 10 years now. And I mean, I still look up to him as if it's like the first day I met him. I mean, I admire him. And it's not too many friends I have where I have like that kind of admiration for. Sorry to my friends. Like, I love everybody, but like, it's just his ethic. It's just the way that he is. I just really appreciate it. And it also reflects a lot as far as how I am. So I appreciate it to another level. But anyway, Anthony Blue, as we call him, he had a service where he does, he did the music and the readings and all that kind of stuff. And it was based around the 5 love languages. Oh, man. The way that he broke it down. First of all, if you're not familiar with the 5 love languages, check out 5lovelanguages.com. I actually put a post up on this page a while back that showed what my love languages are. If you're interested, let me know, and I'll dialogue in the comments, and we'll talk about it again. I'll even do another broadcast where we're just talking about that, because it is extremely valuable. If you don't know, if you don't know what your love languages are, you should really check this out. You do like a little survey where, it helps you to see like what is it that speaks to you most when it comes down to how people can show you love, like especially a significant other. Like, what is it that you value most? Do you value touch? Do you value like somebody affirming your actions and like really feeding your ego? Do you value gifts? Do you value acts of service? When somebody just does something without you asking them and it just makes you feel good. Like, what do you value? And from there, it helps to show what you emit. Because whatever your love language is how you emit those same characteristics and those traits and those, you emit that kind of love language to others because you emit what you want people to do for you. So this is just like a really, really significant way of looking at yourself and learning about yourself to another degree. It helps with like the relationships that you're in, to understand other people better and to love them better. It really helps you to love people better. So everybody knows from the Bible and from other sources, because it did not start with the Bible. I have to reiterate that for those that think the Bible was the first book out there that said, like, treat others the way you desire to be treated. If you think that, read the Bhagavad. I can't even say it. I'm getting tongue-tied. Read the Bhagavad Gita ASAP. What's the Bhagavad Gita? It's the book that came before the Bible. It's my villain laugh. The Bhagavad Gita are the Hindu scriptures that way predate the Bible, and it's one of my favorite. It's, oh my goodness, it was actually the first book I read in its entirety after reading the Bible in its entirety. And the Bhagavad Gita is like, I love the practical aspect of it, and it's without the dogma, that you'll find in the Bible, and without the fundamentalism. So anyway, read that and check that out. But for those that know about, the saying, or even the scripture, if you will, that's treat others the way that you desire to be treated. There's one. This is why it's important for us to revise our scriptures, as opposed to just holding them up and just saying this is the end all be all. There's no progression in thought after this. It's the way that it's said. God said it, that settles it, and there's no addition you can put. I promise you there is. And here's one right here. The better saying is not treat others the way you desire, the way that you desire to be treated. It is treat others the way they desire to be treated. Because the truth of the matter is, and all of us know this is a life lesson. That's why this isn't just something I'm saying. If you really think about this, this is true. When we treat other people the way we desire to be treated, sometimes it works out when we're in the right mindset, and where the way that we desire to be treated is just kind of a general way that, like, that everybody, when it comes to just pure respect. Now, that could break down into what respect means, but for the sake of keeping it simple, let's just say the respect of allowing other people the opportunity to speak or voice their opinions, or just, to be who they are and run their life the way they desire to run it. You can treat others the way you desire to be treated, because all of us want the respect. But there are certain things, and many of us have really experienced this firsthand, and especially in relationships, where what the other person desires is not the same thing that you would desire for yourself. I'll speak about my own relationship. You're welcome. Speak about my own relationship, from this perspective to really illustrate the point. So I take something like acts of service and that kind of thing. One of Amma's languages is acts of service. For me to do something without her asking, where it really shows her that I've paid attention to, what she's interested in, and whether that be in the form of a gift or an actual act where she doesn't have to do something and I do it for her. That really speaks to her. For me, it's cool, but it's not deeply my love language though. More than that, something like touch for me, or something like like an affirmation. And it's interesting because I'm not usually this person where I really need someone to tell me that they love me in order for me to know or to feel it. But in this case, it is that way. It's where I value it, or I value being told I love you, and it not always coming after I say I love you. That's something that's super valuable to me. For Amma, it's different, So, and even when it comes to touch, that's not as deep for Amma as it is for me. So if I treat her the way that I desire to be treated, then the only thing that's going to happen is there'll be some places where I'm hitting the nail on the head, and some places where I'm totally missing out because it's not what speaks to her. So better than treat other people the way you desire to be treated, treat people the way they desire to be treated. And in order to do that, you have to first listen to people and hear them as they tell you how they desire to be treated. Now, of course, there's only one, restriction to that, or one, take it with a grain of salt when it comes to this aspect. Unless it violates your morality. Unless it's something where somebody wants you to treat them in a way that you just don't feel comfortable with. It literally goes against, it goes against what you believe, or, who you are and that kind of thing. That's different. But other than that, check with people and see what they actually desire. So that way you can treat them the way they desire to be treated, because the way you desire to be treated may not be their preference. It may not be. So I think that's a good place to end. I think that's a good thought to end on, because like I said, many of us are used to treat others the way you desire to be treated, and we uphold that, we reverence it, we give it all the, this is the end all be all, The scripture says it and that settles it. I disagree. Think about what I just said. That does apply sometimes, but you'll be more accurate if you find out what other people want, because everybody's different. We do not live in a one size fits all world. And the only place we do live in a one size fits all world is just general vague concepts. But all of us know, each of us out here needs something different. You don't treat your children. Your children, if you're a person that has children, that each one of your children, they like different things. They have different things that they call fun or that they enjoy, And so, yeah, y'all get the point. Study other people, listen more than speak, and find out the way people desire to be treated, so that in addition to the overall general macro umbrella kind of cookie cutter, respect and common courtesy, you can find out even more deeply how to really love and respect a person, because it goes past respect. Everybody has a different way that means. Everybody has a different way. If I'm in certain people's houses that don't use profanity, like it's not who they are, it's not what they do, the best way to love them, the best way to treat them the way they desire to be treated, is to not use those words, not use what people would consider curse words. Now, is that who I am? Well, sometimes, but sometimes when it's appropriate and when I'm illustrating a point, I use colorful language, as I like to call it, as opposed to curse words. But if I'm in somebody's house where that's not what they do, then me treating them the way I would desire to be treated, because I would like that kind of conversation, again, it's no different for me than like any other kind of vocabulary. It's no good and no bad about it. You can use good vocabulary in a terrible way. Like I said, I hope that you never amount to anything in life. I'm speaking to you, the viewer, right now. I hope you never amount to anything in life. That's a curse word. Those are curse words. Way more than, a colorful word that I might use in the midst of a fun conversation where I'm actually giving somebody dap. So, what up, brother? How you doing, man? I hope you've been enjoying it, bro. Hope it's been valuable. So, like I said, the way that I would treat a person in that regard is if we're kicking it and having casual conversation, I'm going to use all the devices. I'm going to use intellect. I'm going to use very stimulating, positive, deep, language that's scientific and all those kind of things. And I'm going to use colorful words that some people call curse words. To me, it's all in the gamut. It's just like music, If I'm in the midst of a conversation, I'm going to throw a jazz lick in there, plus I'm going to throw a hip-hop lick at some point, because I can see how something else can fit in there. And if I use it, it's all about context. Context is everything. There we go. I mean, that's another point. Context is everything. But my final point, is that even though I would treat someone else the way I desire to be treated, which is to use that kind of language, if that's not right for the person and that makes them feel uncomfortable, the best thing I could do is treat them the way they desire to be treated, which is to avoid that kind of language and use other language that works for them. Now, absolute final thing. There is a fine line between doing that and not being yourself, not being real. That is a situational. That is a situational thing. You gotta judge each circumstance and situation to see if you're being yourself while making room for others and treating the way they desire to be treated and having that kind of harmonious interaction, or if you're just playing fake, because that is not something that you want to do. But every situation is different, and you got to judge it accordingly. That doesn't come by just purely blanket state in a blanket statement way, treating others the way they desire to be treated. I mean, you desire to be treated. It comes by doing that and the other. So, anyway, I've rambled enough. Oh, you did? That's funny, bro. Daryl said I didn't hit send earlier. That's what's up, bro. Hey, man, it's good, bro. I take it now or later, before. What's up, man? I hope you're having a good day today, bro. And I'm glad you hit send. That way I can see that you said hello. Happy Monday to you, man. I hope everything is great with you and the fam. So everybody, thanks so much for joining. Thanks for hanging out. Like, more than anything, more than a like, more than a share, drop a line. Elaborate on something I said. I'm going to tell you, I hate likes and shares with no comments. Like, I rather no likes and no shares and like, and I'm going to say this way to illustrate the point. I'd rather a ton of comments and engage, a shit ton of comments, a shitload of comments and engagement and your thoughts, like your depthful thoughts about how these things apply to your life, more than just a like or thumbs up. Some people, that's what they want because it makes it look good to everybody else. I care about hearing, where in your life does this apply? When is the last time you treated somebody the way you desire to be treated and it didn't quite work out? And either you were left scratching your head because you was like, man, like I thought I did the right thing. Why didn't they like this? And now since I said what I said, it made you think about it in a different way. Or you realized that in that moment, like, oh, wow, like this isn't everybody's cup of tea. I like this. I do things this way, but not everybody else. Like, drop a line. Let's talk. And that's about it. Have a happy Monday. And, tune in later for I have a couple videos that's going to hit the timeline today that are recaps from some events last year this time. So enjoy that. And thanks for hanging out with a rambling brother. All right, y'all. Take care. Be love.